always like a double standard when it comes to people like non-white men. Why is it always a double standard? It's like all the men, they get like full scenes in the Avengers. Every Avengers movie is them fighting, and it's like full scenes. But in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, where you literally take a few minutes and it just shows the women doing exactly what the men had been doing, and now it's just the SJW agenda. It's like what, but they were doing exactly what the men were doing. Like this, it's the exact same thing, except for now it's just women doing it, but it's an agenda. Okay, there's just a double standard. It's like Ghostbusters, when they made the Ghostbusters movie, it was all men, and it was fine, right? But when they came out with a trailer, first they announced all female Ghostbusters, then they came out with a trailer. This is just an SJW agenda. It's bad. Miguel O'Hara was created a long time ago. Ain't nobody say nothing. Now again, I get people gonna be like, he's Latino, but it doesn't count. Your argument is invalid because he's of color. Sure, you want to go there? Fine, we'll go there. That's cool. Miguel O'Hara been around, ain't been no issues. He's Latino. You get this black kid created, Miles Morales. This is a problem. Oh my God, what is happening? He's just a carbon copy of Spider-Man, of Peter Parker. He's just the black version. And it's like, yo, like, this is a double standard. There's no logical thought, ever, any logical thought when it comes to people, at least from what I've gotten, the conversations that I've had. Maybe more people can educate me, and I'm down to having more I'm down for having a live conversation, like for real, because I really want to know, because I don't understand the argument for people that are on the, like, this is an SJW agenda, everything. Because when it comes to films, comic books, media in general, media has been dominated by the white man. Like, people of color was there, but people of color was regulated to these stereotypical roles. Women was always damsels in distress and promiscuous beings, and you know, like, the white man was the strong, buff one who was the hero, like always. So I just don't understand how that's not an agenda. But when things change, where now you can begin to have females as the protagonists, you can begin to have different people in different situations and different roles, now this is a part of some agenda. I just don't understand. This one person was trying his best to articulate his points to me in my previous comment section, but well, I'm just gonna read what he said to y'all so you can get an understanding. Every time I would make a comment, he would respond. Every time he would make a comment, I would respond. He answered what I had said. I said, all white men as protagonists equal no agenda, but some non-white protagonists equals an agenda. Can anyone explain this? And he says, become a writer and create your own diverse characters. Problem solved. But replacing existing ones with diverse ones, even if they don't fit the setting, because diversity, yep, that's an agenda. But you are a racist, so I don't expect you getting something as simple as this. When is a Fresh Prince reboot with an all-white cast coming? Never, hopefully, wouldn't watch that. So he came to the conclusion that I'm a racist. And notice in the SJW video, I didn't even use that word. And I didn't use it purposely because I don't need to use that word because people expose themselves. He mentioned a Fresh Prince reboot with an all-white cast right now. I'm gonna first talk about that and then I'll decipher and I'll continue. A Fresh Prince reboot with an all-white cast wouldn't work because of the fact that Fresh Prince was Will Smith's stage name. He was a rapper. A rapper. That means that the show had a cultural tone of hip-hop. And hip-hop is not a white thing. So I don't understand how you can equate like the Fresh Prince and say that a white reboot could even happen, because it can't. Like a white reboot, it's not the same. The Fresh Prince is literally, that was his name. That was Will Smith's stage name. It was his rap name. It had to do with hip hop. Like, hip hop culture was throughout that show. It was about a black family. How can you then substitute, like pull them out and put in white people? But I think that's your point, right? I think that's your point. And somebody else, they actually commented and they said something that was pretty interesting too. They said, what makes me connect with the character is their values and how well they are written, not the F***. I don't know what cuss word that is. Color of their skin. People are not stupid for getting mad when the only defining trait for a character is the color of their skin. I understand what you're saying. I do understand. But this is the biggest discrepancy between like what these people are saying and the reality, right? Their perspective is just skewed all throughout their argument. Like, there is not the consideration of anybody but themselves. I talked about my own experience growing up, seeing like not a lot of black people in positive light on TV and in media, and that's not even considered. Like, my point as a black man, like I'm black, and I see, wow, like black people are getting a chance. Like, wow, like black people are more than just thugs. Like, yo, like Miles Morales, his story is pretty dope. I say that, I see that and say that as a black kid, you know, but like these other people, they just go, forget that. I don't need that. You don't need that either. The notion of what makes me connect with the character is their values and how well they are written, not the F*** color of their skin. I 100% agree with you. If the storytelling is good, then it's a good story, right? But to say that characters are only defined by their skin color, you know, I begin to ask, well, what characters are you talking about? Because if you want to get into a specific example, we can get into a specific example. But to say that, you know, I don't like characters that are defined only by their skin color, it's like, okay, I agree. Who is that? So let me know what characters you're talking about. Because it's definitely not Miles Morales, because Miles Morales, his story is something that I, as a black kid, I connect with. I really do. It's just this lack of consideration for other people. That's all these arguments boil down to. And then to talk about political, right? To talking about everything is being politicized. You have a story that is literally made just for young kids to connect with. And you're politicizing it because you're saying that this story is not legitimate solely based on the color of the main character's skin. Because the majority of people that talk mess about Riri Williams and talk mess about Miles Morales, they haven't read these comics. They don't know these stories. And if they have, they just, in their minds, they can't connect with it for whatever reason. I assume it's because of the skin color of the main character. They just can't connect with it. But me, as a person of color, when I read, there's something that I, like Miles Morales' story of his uncle and his father, that's something that I connect with. That's something that I guess people are incapable of connecting with because it's apparently been labeled as a part of some SJW agenda. But all of these labels are always placed on things that deal with people of color, people from marginalized backgrounds, just people outside the traditional roles. That's when you see the stamp of SJW always being put on it, and that's odd. It's really odd. It's not cool, because I, as a person of color, I connect with some of these stories a lot better than I connect with seeing the white boy, because the reality of it is that life is different for white and black people. Like, that's the reality. My YouTube life is a lot different from other white YouTubers. Like, and I'm sure you can ask any YouTuber and they'll give you some insight. You know, listen, life is different. And to say that because of the color of the character's skin, like this story is a SJW story or is X, Y, and Z, when previously you had characters that all looked the same and that wasn't a part of an agenda or X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make sense. It's odd, and you come off very unempathetic. You show that you don't care about anyone else's perspective but yours, and you feel as if people of color need to have a answer or a reason or there needs to be a justification for them being in stories. Meanwhile, white men don't need a justification. That's where it all boils down to, like, there needing to be justification for people of color. Like Diego even says within his comment, even if they don't fit the setting, it's like there needs to be justification for people of color being in films, being in movies, being in media, being in stories. Because he said even if they don't fit the setting, right? Well, I can talk about movies that have been based in Africa, movies that are based in Egypt, movies, you know, a number of media, and these people don't fit the setting, but it's cool. That's not an agenda. And again, there's just within this whole argument, it's never framed in like logical reality thought. It's always based in the selfish thought process of how the world works pertaining to your own position in life. I don't know. Like it's never based in like, wow, that person may be experiencing something that could relate to that story, or wow, that story I don't really connect with it, but some other people might. It's never that. It's always just a label put on things that have people that aren't white and men. It's just a label all the time, and it makes no sense. Again, if somebody can break it down for me, please. We can break it down live. We can do a live talk, live chat. I'm with it. We can do it. Because right now, none of it makes sense. And I've been doing research, okay? I've been following a lot of people, and I follow the amount of YouTubers that I subscribe to is well over 1,000. And the amount of YouTubers that I watch that have different ideas, different political beliefs, different backgrounds, all that is just vast. And the people that are on the SJW agenda side, they don't make sense. None of them. Like their points literally make no sense because it's all rooted in their own perspective and never the perspective of other people. And it's just crazy. It's odd. And it's kind of detrimental to society, I believe. Because on one hand, it's like, I am tolerant of all people. And on the other hand, it's like, but they can't be in my stories unless they're there for a particular reason, unless they serve in a purpose that they're supposed to serve, you know. It's like, all right, well, I get it. You want to go the route of it. Characters and stories, they're supposed to serve a particular purpose. If you want that makes sense. But I've just never heard this conversation pertaining to other characters. And now this conversation is in the forefront when it has people of color and marginalized people and women. It's just now this conversation is being pushed to the forefront. So I guess we're gonna have it now. Didn't have it before, but we're gonna have it now. Well, if somebody can let me know, because that's what I got to say. Still don't make no sense. You're talking about, I don't want my media to be political, and you're making it political by way of stamping this SJW agenda on everything with people of color or people from marginalized groups or people outside of traditional roles. You're making it political. That's also the way of life. You know, politics is kind of life. Art has always imitated life. So it's weird how the line is drawn, you know. I don't want my politics in my art unless it meets X, Y, and Z credentials and has X, Y, and Z person and has X, Y, and Z ideals and thoughts and has, like it's weird, it's odd. It's an odd, strange time. A lot of people are loopy, ain't making no sense. But somebody gonna break it down to me. Somebody gonna break it down to me. That's all I got to say for this video. Check out some other videos, something, I don't know, because I'm confused.